Let me start a recording first. I'm gonna start a recording because this might get turned into a video someday. Alright, as I was saying, the only 7 masterpieces ever made. Let's get started.
Nowadays, it feels like basically every game is a masterpiece. Game of the year? Yeah, that's a masterpiece. 10 out of 10 on IGN? Gotta be a masterpiece. Did it make you go, wow?
I didn't even play Clair Obscur, but that game, I've seen the whole story on it, and that thing is so good. Audio up.
Even a single time? Safe to say, it's probably a
How's that audio?
masterpiece.
Seems like it's almost as loud as my microphone, actually, which isn't even bad. Good now? Okay. So let's look at the games even we got
Nowadays, it feels like basically every game is a masterpiece.
Silk
Game of
Song?
the year? Yeah, that's a masterpiece. 10 out of 10 on
Expansion 33. I've not played it, but masterpiece. That story is so good. Tears of the Kingdom, absolute banger.
IGN? Gotta be a masterpiece. Did it make you go, wow, even a single time? Safe to say, it's probably a masterpiece. I'm
I've
guilty
played
of this
Mario Kart
too.
World.
I made a PB&J the other
Got Elden Ring there. Played a lot of Elden Ring. I'm gonna probably get another random run at some point. I still haven't played the DLC, so I'll play it live on stream eventually as well.
day and called it a masterpiece. To be fair, I was right. But when everything is a masterpiece, nothing is. So allow me to overanalyze this imaginary problem by asking a question. If you had to take the thousands of masterpieces we currently have and reduce them down to the lowest possible number, just 7 games, what would those 7 games be? What
7
games would you
7 game. I did see on the thumbnail, so I can't exactly Jedi first, bro. I gotta wait for it to be discounted again. 7 masterpieces. I'm definitely gonna have Minecraft, some form of Mario game, some sort of a lot of Nintendo games probably. Elden Ring, I feel like, is also pretty good, but I don't know if like that's like revolutionary in the game industry itself. You can play on my family share alt. Actually, I might that could work. That could work actually.
consider the 7 true masterpieces? Let's get some ground rules out of the way. First off, before you say it, no, this is not just a list of my personal favorite games. That list is on my Patreon, which you can join to help justify spending hundreds of hours on these videos. That's not to say this is some purely objective and perfect list. Believe me, there's plenty of personal bias in here by virtue of me being, well, a human, but I tried to stay as true to my methodology as I could. This task was practically impossible, and it only got more challenging the further down the rabbit hole I went. Eventually though, I was able to come up with a methodology that feels as close to accurate as I can make it. So let's start there. What exactly is this methodology? How did
I feel like it's impossible to have like no bias in there though, because there's still gonna be some games that he's gonna say like, although they're like not my favorites, they're still like really good and up there, but like he's still probably gonna like the game in some way. I feel like there's probably a game that he really like genuinely doesn't like that's also still really good. It's probably just hard to not be biased there.
these games make the list, and what am I prioritizing here? Well, I've done some research on masterpieces and narrowed it down to 7 essential attributes that make a game a true masterpiece. Think of these less like boxes to check and more like a single large bucket to fill. A game doesn't necessarily
New Super Mario Wii better be on there. And Minecraft. This New Super Mario Wii? I mean, it was a good game. I don't know if it's a masterpiece. Minecraft is on there for sure. If Minecraft isn't on there, like I don't know what is.
require all 7 attributes. It just needs enough of them together to add up and collectively reach a certain threshold. Equally, you'll quickly see that they have a lot of overlap. It's next to impossible for a game to max out one of these without inadvertently bleeding into another category. Okay, the attributes are as follows. Attribute 1. Influence. The game needs to have some kind of profound level of influence on the rest of the medium. This is often seen through direct imitation or replication like Genshin Impact to Breath of the Wild or Wild.
Oh, yep. Dude, Genshin? Yeah, I love the story of Genshin, but like, dude, I wish I could play it without having to drop like 2 grand on the fucking game. Like, I know I can play without dropping 2 grand, but like, you're just like limited to like some story stuff, and you just could like wait so long, and half the time you're just doing everything super slow because you can't deal damage or shit. And you're like, oh, I really like this character. I wonder how much it's gonna cost. $470. I have many free to play accounts on it and beat the game on it. Well, yeah, but you also like have like a level 60 account and probably like spend like 2,000 hours on the game. I'm trying to spend that long. You can clear ending content with 4 star characters. Yeah, right, fair enough then.
Hearts to Monster Hunter. A true masterpiece should have influence so substantial that magically removing the game from the timeline would dramatically alter what the medium looks like today. Attribute 2. Quality. This is probably the most common use of the term. The game needs to have outstanding quality next to its peers. Simply put, a true masterpiece should be a very, very good game. Attribute 3. Uniqueness or novelty. This is a weird one, but the importance of doing something new and exciting really can't be understated. This is where we'll really start to see these attributes blend together.
Mario 64 honestly was pretty huge. Mario 64 also started a lot of speedrunning stuff, didn't it? I think that was one like the earlier games that started to get speedrun. That's huge.
As oftentimes, the most unique games also tend to be some of the most influential if they're successful enough. Attribute 4.
Yeah, so you're saying like Odyssey better be here too, but like Odyssey couldn't be there without Mario 64. Like Mario 64 is just OG. Which Odyssey, I didn't play it, but it seems really good. But 64 just started it all.
Timelessness. A masterpiece shouldn't really age all that much. Sure, tech gets better, that's inevitable, yet a masterpiece from 30 years ago should still be a fun game today. Attribute 5. Impact. While influence is more about copying and taking clear inspiration from something, impact represents some kind of paradigm shift that was directly caused by the release of that game. Pong, for example, has relatively low influence, but arguably the highest impact of any video
Bro, that's like the games that like all the old people be like, oh yeah, I used to be a gamer back in the day. And they fucking played Pong and Tetris.
game by virtue of being the first. Attribute 6. Universality. Anyone from any background should be able to immediately appreciate why this game is special. It's not just great for JRPG fans or puzzle game fans. It's something that practically anyone who's ever touched a video game can look at and go, yeah, I can see why people would like that. It's sort of like how when I show this image on screen, basically everyone knows I'm about to beg for subs because I want a cool slab of metal. Finally, Attribute 7. Legacy. A game's story, how it was remembered, and how it continues to impact us decades later creates a lasting legacy that only a true masterpiece can have. This is perhaps the most nebulous of all the attributes. Part of that is because if a game has a truly remarkable legacy, it's probably a result of maxing out at least a few of those other categories. With all of that out of the way, let's...
Yo, the original Mario... Dude, I used to grind that game. I used to like almost speedrun the original Mario on the NES. I was actually so good at it.
Start with the very first game, the one that stars arguably the most iconic character in gaming. So check this out, the year is 1985 and gaming is, for lack of a better word, cooked, at least in North America. Thanks to a nightmarish combination of studio closures, oversaturation, and a near total lack of quality control, the industry's future was uncertain to say the least. Despite all the doom and gloom though, situations like these often leave the door wide open for a new challenger to approach and shake things up, which is exactly what a friendly plumber was getting ready to do. A company that would become synonymous with gaming was planning their biggest venture yet, one that would catapult them straight to the very top of the industry. The Nintendo Entertainment System. Yet this console wouldn't have done nearly as well if it wasn't for the game spearheading its launch, the first of our 7 true masterpieces, Super Mario Bros.
And I've played that one. That's 1 out of 7 so far. I played that one on the original console that was owned by my mom that she got back in probably like 85 or something by her parents. I don't know. Good game.
Now, if I may ask you for a moment to consider a question that I promise you is relevant, just give me a chance to explain. I'd like to take a moment to analyze the conventional attractiveness of Mario. Wait, hold on, let me explain. Mario isn't ugly by any means, but he's no Leon S. Kennedy or Samus Aran or Verso or Island Bercelli Major Hulkenberg. He's kinda just a guy.
Dude, yeah, okay, so the Switch 2 being able to play all the retro games is really nice. Can you download the Switch 2? I feel like you can. So just on the regular one. I don't have a Switch 2, so I don't know.
I mean, he's even shorter than his own younger brother, and while he may be the Jumpman, he doesn't exactly look like he's been working out in the same gym as Leon. That's exactly it though. In an article from 2015, the writer Will Parton brings up this brilliant idea that I think is extremely important when discussing the impact of both this game and especially its main character. Mario is just a guy. The average person might struggle to relate to the walking Greek statue that is Leon S. Kennedy, but Mario is short and a little round, a figure that I'd imagine isn't exactly difficult to measure up to. Equally, he lacks a more complex backstory or deep and intricate motivations and goals. He simply wants to get to the castle and save his partner from an evil villain. All of this creates something like... profoundly significant.
Bro, okay, Peach gotta start working out, bro. Ain't no way she's the one getting kidnapped. And do we see in the... We literally saw, like, it's lore accurate in the Mario Galaxy movie, right? That, like, she's, like, super powerful. And, like, if she's, like, so powerful, why does she get caught by Bowser over and over and over again, bro? Like, her and Rosalina have the power to, like, create worlds or something together. And then just, like, a little, like, Bowser Jr. is just gonna, like, kidnap her, like, every single time, without fail. Like, bro, just I know you can escape. Just do it. I think you know what? I think Peach likes being kidnapped. I think she's actually like she doesn't fuck with Mario, and every time Mario shows up, she's like, "Fuck, he found me again." She's just like, she's with Bowser and like in their room, and like Bowser sees Mario's like, "Oh shit, Mario's here, Peach, hide!" And then like he puts her in a cage, but like they're probably having an affair or something. I don't know. Bowser Jr. was paintbrushes strong. Yeah, yeah, he is.
That would
Dude, Bowser Jr. and Mario Sunshine. I actually really like that guy. He was pretty cool.
shape one of the most important parts of gaming even 40 years later, an avatar. The original Mario Bros. Showed us that it's possible to take the player on an adventure where they had a character that acted as
Dude, I fucking hated those jump springs so much. They were so fucking janky. You have to like start holding A when the jump spring is at the very bottom, and half the time your like initial speed when you get off the spring is so slow and you can't go anywhere and you just fall in a fucking hole.
their avatar in this world.
Like that.
This idea would be expanded upon in the following decades with iconic heroes like Master Chief. You never see the face behind the mask, perhaps because that face is meant to be your own. What I believe was the greatest strength of this game, however, was its genius game design. The first level has been dissected and analyzed endlessly over the past 40 years, but there's good reason for that. The first Goomba teaches you how to jump, these blocks show you that there's a difference between normal blocks and question blocks. They also teach you that small Mario can't break the blocks, but Super Mario can. This pipe is positioned in such a way that the mushroom will bounce off of it, teaching you the physics of this power-up and giving newer players a chance to grab it without having to chase it down. I could keep going, but you probably get it. This ability to teach the player without tutorials or guidebooks was so innovative and effective that it's still a crucial part of most great games today. For example, Elden Ring doesn't have a tutorial.
Elden Ring, my goat. And Ronnie on the left side. Ronnie, my goat.
Telling you not to fight every boss you encounter, yet it does have a crazy powerful boss right outside of the starting area, along with a safe spot within running distance. This acts like a way to teach the player that if a boss seems too powerful, they can simply run away. That type of game design comes directly from Mario 1. It was breaking the mold and doing things no one had ever thought to do, and for that reason, it's probably the most influential game on this list. I'm not gonna sit here and claim that avatars wouldn't exist. Nobody would have ever figured out.
Also, I have to say, I know like Dark Souls and Elden Ring, they do really good with the tutorial at like showing you the controls and like kind of like guiding you on it first. But bro, for people who have never played the games, the Dark Souls 3 tutorial or something where you have to go fight Ludex Gundyr or Ludex Gundyr, I don't know how to pronounce it, is rough. It's like, oh yeah, here, step 1, draw a line, and step 2 is like draw the fucking Mona Lisa. It's like, oh yeah, here you can just dodge this little guy shooting you with a crossbow. And you have like a whole ass boss with 2 fucking phases as your tutorial. Like, I could like, brother.
Visible tutorials, or even that the entire medium would have fizzled out in the 80s without this one game. And even if that were true, there's no real way to know. What I can tell you, however,
Elden Ring was my first Dark Souls game. Its controls and the explanation was really jack my eyes. Did you read all the messages? Also, like, it is a pretty complex game. Elden Ring has even more mechanics than the other Souls games, so I can see why it could be difficult. If you've played any of the other Souls games, you're just kind of like going in and like the only new mechanic you're learning is like jumping, doing a jump attack. But I know the Dark Souls games do really good.
Is that this one game from close to 50 years ago was so impactful, so world-changing, and so influential that we still clearly see its DNA in games that are released even today. Mario is, at worst, the second or third most iconic character in gaming, and this was his debut title. Nintendo has been one of the largest gaming companies on the planet since the 80s, and still remains a comfortable member of the Big Three. Again, I can't peer into alternate timelines.
Oh, Link jump scare.
But that probably doesn't happen without
I thought
Mario
the video
1.
froze. That
Let's
didn't even
rewind
freeze.
about
You just
18 months to find our
actually
second
had that.
masterpiece before we leave the 80s. Of all the games on this list, this
Tetris?
is probably the closest to a pure masterpiece. Tetris,
Dude, the
much
Tetris
like
music.
Mario 1,
The Tetris music went so hard. That shit was actually like absolute bangers.
perfectly encapsulates all 7 of those attributes from the start. Influence is obvious. It spawned the entire falling block puzzle genre, which includes insanely popular mobile games like Candy Crush. And on top of that, it's one of the most timeless games ever made.
I never even processed that Candy Crush was like kind of inspired by Tetris, but it makes sense. Just aligning blocks, aligning things, and they explode.
Despite releasing in 1984, the game was so fundamentally sound that it hasn't really aged a day. While it wasn't the very first video game ever made, its level of complexity and the ceiling for skill in such a simple package rivals games from the
I mean, also, it's not the first game ever made, but isn't it also like one of the most sold games ever? Which, to be fair, the most sold game ever, I think, is still Minecraft. And some people say that, like, debatably it's Tetris, but I don't want to count Tetris because Tetris was sold in multiple game forms. It's not like a single standalone game. Like, there's probably like dozens and dozens of like official Tetris games that got released over time. And I think we would have to like take the most sold copy and like get the number from that to actually get like an accurate like measurement. Because probably the same people getting the game every time too. And Minecraft is just a shitload of people getting it. If that's the case, then Mario's the most sold because of all his games. Yeah, exactly.
modern era.
Like, oh, Mario Kart is one of the most sold games. Like, yeah, because like there's like 20 of them and they all fucking do phenomenally.
That simple package allows it to be understood, appreciated,
Mario Kart Wii was the best though. All right, I'm gonna stop pausing for a bit.
and enjoyed by practically anyone. My boss at my old job played Tetris, my mom played Tetris, I've played Tetris, and so have you. It's the very definition of universality in gaming. I mean, really think about it. What do you need to play Tetris? First, you need an understanding of gravity, and since no humans have been born in space, as far as we know, congrats, you have that. You need to understand that when you press left, the block goes left, and when you press right, it goes right. Depending on the setup, there may be as few as 3 buttons, so that's not really going to take long to figure out. Finally, you need to know how shapes fit together. That's it. That's literally it. I'm confident that if you went back in time a few hundred years and gave a child a Game Boy with Tetris, they'd be clearing rows in less than 90 seconds. If aliens showed up tomorrow and went, show me what a video game is for, some reason, you could safely give them Tetris.
Bro, what? What are all those names? I don't recognize like any of those. Well, there's Kirby and who is that? Thrag Invincible? I didn't know who it was. I just looked like Omni-Man to me.
And they'd probably get it. Most telling of all of this, though, is the fact that despite being created in 1983, nearly the exact same game is still being sold successfully today.
It is? Oh, is it actually?
Fortnite has had a generational run going on over 8 years of global dominance. People have been playing Tetris for over 40. If that's not timeless, I'm honestly not sure what else could be.
And I played that one too. That's 2 out of 7.
Let's move on to one that might be a bit more controversial. However, I think as we delve deeper into this game, you'll start to see just how monumental it was, and really still is. If you were born between here and here, I'm willing to bet that one of the first video games you ever played was the first generation of Pokemon, Red and Blue. If Mario showed what video games themselves were capable of, Pokemon demonstrated this medium's ability to expand far beyond its home in the digital world. The games were novel and revolutionary in their own right, being the grandfather of the monster catcher genre. While not technically the very first, it was the one that made monster catchers mainstream. The first generation was also the very beginning of one of the largest series in gaming. It influenced endless copycats and developers trying to improve upon that.
Dude, Pal World. Dude, Nintendo did not like Pal World. I'm glad they got their official release pretty recently though. I haven't played it, but it looks really good.
Original formula. And yet, if all Pokemon had going for it was a solid RPG from the 90s, it
more than just pals. No.
wouldn't be on this list. In fact, while Red and Blue were revolutionary at the time, you'd be crazy to look at the decades of monster catchers we've gotten since and claim that not a single one accomplished what Pokemon did at a higher level. What makes these games truly special is that they were the origin point of the largest media franchise in history. Plushies, card games, TV series, movies, endless merchandise. There are real-life Pokemon centers dedicated to these games and their countless characters. Red and Blue were so impactful, so culturally significant that they had and still do have a clear effect on the real world. Think about it like this. If there's a form of media or entertainment that you want to consume, or even simply a thing you wish to buy, you can probably do so with Pokemon. All of this came from that first generation. These games proved that if you create a game that's good enough and you market it in the right way, you aren't limited to a console. You can grow your empire anywhere. And Pokemon chose to grow it everywhere, making Red and Blue Gold and Silver.
That's definitely another good game to put in the 7 masterpieces. I've played, I think the only Pokemon I've actually played almost fully was Heart Gold, which was really good. But I just never really got into it as a kid because I never grew up with like a DS or a Game Boy or anything. So I just didn't grow up with Pokemon. I played Pokemon Rumble on the Wii. I don't know if that counts for anything.
then took those lessons learned from Red and Blue and made all of the natural improvements to refine these games even further. A second region, twice as many gyms, better quality of life, even more Pokemon, and arguably the most iconic super boss in RPG history. In practically every way, Gold and Silver are just purely better video games.
Yep. Gold was just, it was so good. The only thing I don't like about Pokemon though is the fighting style, or like just like most Nintendo games really, the animations and like the amount of time it takes to do the literalest stuff in every game just takes forever. Like take Animal Crossing for example, right? Like I feel like you could do so much more in so like little time. Like if you want to like just I don't know, dig a hole or something, it takes like 5 seconds to do the animation. Like you have to like go on your inventory to open it. That takes like 2 seconds, and then choose your shovel. That takes like 2 seconds, and then dig a hole. That takes like even more time. Which like I could have done that in like literally like half a second. It just takes so long. I just don't have the patience for those games. Like let me do what I want quick.
Than their predecessors. Yes, Red and Blue came first, but it feels a bit strange to give the title to a game that, while iconic, simply isn't as good as... I think we'll go with this one. That should be right. Yeah, that should be right.
Nope.
All of the games we've covered have been 2D,
Gary's
but I
mod,
think it's about time we move on to the third dimension. Contrary to popular belief, there were actually plenty of 3D games back in the 90s. As is often the case, the games that get labeled the first, or the ones that revolutionized the medium...
Our good old Mario 64 again. I've actually never played Mario 64. I should play it. I should play it on stream. That might be... I could add that to the schedule, actually. I need to do that.
Aren't really the first...
And I can do some Mario 64 speedrunning.
...ones to do it. It would instead be more accurate to call them the first ones to do it well and at a scale that hadn't been seen before. At the time, I'm not sure there was a single game that accomplished the goal of a 3D adventure better than the next entry on our list. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. This is a game that often tops greatest games of all time lists, and just...
Are they making a remake of Ocarina of Time? I might play, oh well, it's probably going to release on Switch 2 only or something. Never mind, I'm not going to play it.
Justify...
But like, I've heard that it's like, Ocarina of Time is, like, probably, is arguably the best Zelda game from what I've heard. So a remaster would be real nice. Come to my house, you can use my Switch too? Yeah, bro. Let me just go to a completely different state.
So. What impresses me most about Ocarina of Time is the innovation on display here. It popularized Z-targeting, a camera system that we still use today. It's really hard to appreciate just how incredible...
That's the first game that had Z-targeting? Really? Dude, that is huge. Like, every game has a lock-on mechanic now.
That is. I mean, try to think about the countless tools, techniques, and technological advances this medium has made in the 27 years since this game's release. Despite all of those advancements, we still don't really have a better camera solution for third-person 3D games than this one from nearly 3 decades ago. This one game laid the groundwork for cameras that would be used in everything from Dark Souls to Bayonetta to Dynasty Warriors to basically any third-person 3D action game you can think of. That level of influence is exceedingly rare, but the level of quality in this game is arguably even more impressive. The game is basically the quintessential hero's journey. It takes...
I usually, or I don't use / like lock on camera. It depends. Some games do it well, some are too janky with it. But I generally like it a lot.
This weird outcast kid who acts like a bit of a blank slate, much like Mario from the 80s, sends him into a tree and then gives him a prophecy to save the world. He's then told to leave the forest he's called home for his whole life, and after spending about an hour or two in this maze of tightly packed trees and claustrophobic caves, you finally make your way out and are met with this.
Dude, open world back then must have been so incredible. Regardless of like how good the graphics are, which for a game at that time, those graphics were really good. But like being able to just walk around it like an open map for the first time must feel so good. I can't even remember when I played my first open world. I wish I could just play an open world like it was the first time ever again.
I cannot begin to imagine how this must have felt at the time. I'm sure you remember your first moment like this from a video game. If you're around my age, maybe it was Skyrim. You exited that cave at the start of the game, adrenaline finally leaving your system after the dragon attack, and in front of you lay a scene straight out of a painting. Endless peaks dotting the horizon, along with the knowledge that each of those distant locales that you could barely make out may hide an adventure exactly like the one that you just escaped. It was nothing short of breathtaking, awe-inspiring, even
I mean, still crazy to think about. The fact you could just look at the whole world and it just looks like a background, but when you make it there, it's the same content that you're at currently. It's insane.
overwhelming. Maybe it should have been Skyrim. Yet, I can't help but wonder what it must have been like for those players back in the 90s. Players who had grown so accustomed to games that looked like this, or this. Players who had merely seen flashes of what a 3D world could look like. At a time where worlds like these were practically non-existent, Ocarina of Time
Okay, that is like such a huge empty area that must have been a pain to go around. Just rolling for like 20 minutes just to reach your one spot with like just a couple trees next to you.
might have been the very best. More than anything, it's that contrast, that difference between what was then and what is now, that makes Ocarina of Time a true masterpiece. When I think of the
I haven't played Ocarina of Time, but I've played other Zelda games, so can I count as me having played it? I don't think so. Because he didn't just say like Pokemon this time, he said like a specific game. So I'm at 3 out of 4 so far then.
word revolutionary in reference to video games, no game comes to mind faster than Final Fantasy VII. At the time, it was the most expensive game ever made, costing an estimated $45 million to develop and another $100 million for marketing.
Hi,
Holy
Remy.
shit, that's a lot of money. Yo, Tommy, welcome in. Tommy was catching strays earlier today. He doesn't even know.
That number wasn't just for show either. Final Fantasy VII completely redefined the JRPG genre, and is a large reason why it's as popular as it is today, especially in the West. The brilliant use of both 3D models and pre-rendered backgrounds to display these larger-than-life vistas made Alfgar a world that felt more grandiose and extraordinary than anything anyone had ever seen before. Final Fantasy VII showed the industry that with the right technology, games didn't have to be mere pixels on the screen. They could look and feel like movies or larger, more cinematic productions. Simply compare this to the Mario games from barely over a decade prior, and you can really start to get a
Definitely at least 1 or 2 more pixels on the Final Fantasy there.
sense of the scale here. To put this gap into perspective, if you were born in 1980, you could have played Super Mario Bros. In elementary school, and this in college. It wasn't merely reinventing the medium as a whole though. On a smaller level, it was totally changing JRPGs, and of course, its own series. It was the first fully 3D Final Fantasy game with these unbelievable animations and cutscenes, both of which it utilized to their fullest potential to tell one of the most iconic stories in gaming, one that still feels relevant even today. While games like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI effectively mastered the genre and what it could offer with the technology available back then, Final Fantasy VII acted as that next major step, a generation
Dude, that is such a huge jump though. Imagine like you're following like one of like your favorite game series. It's like, oh yeah, it's so fun. It's like my favorite like 2D like RPG game series. And then and then next thing you know, the next game they do in that same series is like completely revolutionary 3D, not even close to what it previously was.
leap that gave us a window into what the future could look like for this medium.
Never touched Final Fantasy. It's too hard to get into. I never played it either. But it's also because for the most part, I don't like the turn-based fighting systems that much. I don't know. It seems like a good game though.
Perhaps directly because of all of this, Final Fantasy VII and the characters from it remain the most recognizable in the series by far. Cloud is effectively the poster boy of Final Fantasy, even going as far as representing it in Smash Bros. And when they thought to add another Final Fantasy character to that series, did they add the main character of 10? Final Fantasy VI? Maybe 1? Nope, they added Sephiroth, a second Final Fantasy VII character.
Dude, Sephiroth is so fucking cheese in Smash Bros. Long ass sword. He's not even like, I don't even know if he's top tier. He's definitely like high tier or something, but that sword pisses me off sometimes if someone's actually good with him.
Despite being created nearly 2 decades ago, these remain the most iconic characters in the series, and it's all because of Final Fantasy VII's success. This game is the very definition of impact and legacy, and for that reason, we'll consider it our 4th true masterpiece.
Wait, what? Did he put Ocarina of Time on there? What do you mean fourth masterpiece? I thought you had Ocarina of Time on there. Oh well.
No, that's not right either. Okay, let's
Oh, did he say that's not right and then it went to someone else? I don't know. I'm lost. I'm I'm not even gonna acknowledge your message there.
try this. All three of the games we've covered so far have prioritized impact and influence over practically anything else. So for number 4 on our list, I wanted to take a look at a game that acts like the pinnacle of the genre, a game that stands at the absolute peak of quality. Granted, I'm not
Celeste is also a huge speedrunning game. Wait, I wonder which he's got to put a game down for speedrunning, right? Which game is he gonna put down for speedrunning? Because there's got to be one.
saying this game is perfect, but as of today, it might be the best open world game of all time.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else gets this feeling, but sometimes, rarely,
That sounds like he's playing Hollow Knight music though.
I'll be playing a game and almost start excitedly laughing like a child.
He's playing Hollow Knight music. Bro, just like me for real, posting Elden Ring stuff with Hollow Knight music in the background.
That excitement comes from the conflict actively occurring in my head as I play the game. One half of me, the pragmatic half, is
Oh my god, I'm getting a Discord call, bro. I'm going on Do Not Disturb, bro. I gotta start going Do Not Disturb earlier, bro. All right, there you go. Getting back into it.
going, listen, we know how good games are able to be, and we know they almost all stumble at some point. Those 1 in a million games do exist, but statistically speaking, this probably isn't one of them, so just enjoy it for what it is and keep your expectations in check. While the other half is going, okay, yeah, no, you're right. I mean, Limgrave is probably just 40 to 50% of the map, and holy shit.
Limgrave is not 40 to 50% of the map. More like 2%, bro.
It's this feeling of there's no possible way the game can keep doing this. It doesn't make sense.
Remy, what are we watching? Didn't know that you're a reacting channel now.
I've been wanting to react to some stuff for a while, so I decided might as well give it a shot. I've been wanting to watch this video as well, so now I'm just watching it with y'all.
The game have an open world this big while still keeping it as dense as it is, with massive dungeons, some of which you don't even have to complete to beat the game, and combat that's also some of the best in the industry. That's not supposed to be possible, yet somehow
So you got the Lone Wolf Zone right now. I'm pretty sure like just switches to like different just pieces of gameplay.
they did manage to pull it off.
Remy reacting to YouTube videos on stream before Roblox or GTA 6.
Dude, we gotta find a game to play on Roblox then. Hop on like Retail Tycoon 2 or something with me on stream at some point. I don't know. Just one of those. Could be fun.
And it's because Elden Ring is almost like a culmination of everything we've learned about open worlds since Zelda 1. Elden Ring director Hideteki Miyazaki said in an interview that he learned from Breath of the Wild, Skyrim, Oblivion, and Witcher 3. They studied everything that made these games great, scrutinized and addressed their shortcomings, and did what every great game has done over the past 50 years. Evolved the medium and pushed it forward. Much like many of the greats before it, Elden Ring likely won't be the greatest open world game of all time forever. I mean, Miyazaki himself.
Dude, the fact that like there's gonna be something even better in Elden Ring eventually is just mind blowing. Because this is like peak open world for me right now. This is actually like genuinely so good. I don't even like what could they add next? I don't know. Also, Duskbloods is probably not going to be better than this, and it's also going to be Switch only, which is bullshit.
Said that Elden Ring isn't his ideal fantasy RPG. It's close, but he knows they can do better, and I'm sure in time, the team at FromSoft will. When they do though, what does that mean for Elden Ring? What does it mean for Breath of the Wild, Skyrim, Oblivion, Ocarina of Time? What does it mean for any game that has since been improved upon and evolved? Imagine a world in which Miyazaki does create his ideal fantasy RPG. Let's say it's another open world like Elden Ring. Is Elden Ring no longer one of the 7 true masterpieces? By that logic, should Mario 1 be on this list when Mario World exists? I'm honestly not sure. Can I ask you a seemingly straightforward question that has no real answer?
Kid is named Tommy Remy Remington Doggington Remelius III X780.
Remember what? That's a crazy name right there.
gone and aliens stumble across our planet, they'll likely categorize all of our trinkets, odds and ends, those sorts of things. But when they reach the video game section, what do you think they'll consider more important? The very first game humanity made, or the very last? This question is almost a bit of a paradox. If you ask me, I'd say the last game is infinitely more important, especially if it was the last truly great game and not just some shovelware that an AI threw out at the last second before shutting down. A game like that would be able
new
to say
trend is in.
Bro. I was not expecting TTS bot to be used that much while I was trying to do. I don't know how I'll have to deal with the TTS while doing some React stuff. I'll figure it out.
so much through its sheer existence alone. Every choice it makes would be a statement on what we valued at the very end. What kind of mark we
Mute it? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'll mute TTS bot for this duration. There you go.
wanted to leave behind, what we wanted the future to know about us, who we were.
I'll stop using TTS for now until you decide to play Retail Tycoon and Roblox or like next year. I don't know what game I'm planning to play next actually. So maybe Retail Tycoon next stream. But you got to be on there with me. You got to be on there with me. We got to get as much people on there as possible.
The last game undeniably says far more about the medium and our civilization as a whole, yet the first game is the very reason the last game is even able to exist. Sure, Pong isn't some grand film.
Yeah, I'm off for the next 2 days. I'm down. All right. Then we could probably actually get that running tomorrow just for fun. I can try to DM you for like timing and stuff. We can figure that out some later today.
Philosophical statement about a species in their final moments, but it is the starting point, the necessary first domino that had to fall. To be honest with you, this paradox drove me crazy when trying to put together this list. Balancing legacy and quality feels next to impossible. I'd go to bed one night with my completed list of 7, wake up the next day, look at it and go, yeah, no, at least half of this is wrong, we have to go back to the drawing board. Then I'd try again, and again, and again, and finally I'd get a finished script. Yet almost the very instant I hit enter on that last line of the 7th entry, it all felt wrong. I think I finally understand why though, along with how to finally get it right. See, there are 2 reasons. First off, the simple reason is the sheer complexity of the task. This list has a mere
It's a hard task. Out of like thousands of fucking super good games, he's trying to get 7. Bro could have gone with 10 or something. He could have probably had some more.
7 entries, but I'm fully confident that if we gathered up 500 people and asked them all to list their 7 and throw them in a hat, we'd have well over 100 different games. For each Tetris or World of Warcraft, we'd have a Link to the Past or Halo 2. Then there are the chronological issues. If Mario 1 came out today, it would objectively be less impressive than it was in 1983, because back then, there were only a handful of 2D platformers, and the technology used to create them pales in comparison to the computers of the modern day. Even if, somehow, we could magically compress the entire timeline and make it so every single candidate for this list had the exact same release date, we'd still have dozens of potential contenders.
Silksong! I gotta play more Silksong soon. I'll play a Silksong whenever DLC gets announced.
Equally, it doesn't seem particularly reasonable to judge a game independent of the context of its release, especially when works of art are a direct result of the world around them. This isn't even taking into account subjectivity either. I sincerely believe there are at least 50 different games that you could make a pretty strong argument for here on a purely objective basis. Measurable things like the first game to implement a revolutionary idea, or the most—
Dude, like, the first game to come out with the Battle Royale system. Huge.
popular game of all time by player count. When you consider the inherent subjectivity of the medium though, this goes from profoundly difficult to completely impossible. There does exist a list that I could throw on screen right now that you would look at and go, yeah.
That's a crazy list. Hey, at least there's... Bro, how do you get Final Fantasy 1 through 6 and not even 7 on the list, bro? How do you manage that?
That's correct, those are the 7 most important games ever made. You could then pause the video, grab your roommate or family member or whoever's closest to you, show them the screen, and watch as they go, are you out of your mind? That is obviously wrong. All of this is the first half of why this question has stumped me as much as it has. But the second half, funny enough, is what finally allowed me to complete the list. The term masterpiece isn't a measurement. Try to think back to the last time you called a game a masterpiece. Do you remember exactly why you did it? For me, it was Shadow of the Colossus.
What was the last game Naughty Dog called the masterpiece? Because for me, I mean, he keeps showing Silksong, and I would say Silksong, I think that was my most recent masterpiece. I don't think there was any game that came out after that that I was like, oh my god, this is like insane. And, like my other favorite game since then was probably Subnautica 2, which Subnautica 2 is really good, but I cannot call that a masterpiece yet. Just because it's not even fully released. And even when it's fully released, I think it'll be a really good game, but I don't know if it'll be a masterpiece.
As I watched the final sequence of the game play out and I stood in awe as the credits scrolled across the screen, I couldn't help but think
It's a very incomplete game right now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's early access, but it's all really good so far. It is already very good.
that was it. That was a masterpiece. I didn't think that because the game reached some arbitrary level where it suddenly crossed some invisible line from great game to masterpiece. It wasn't like a kilometer where it goes from 998 meters to 1002 and we suddenly go, yup, that's it, it passed the threshold. No, it's more like an exclamation point. Like the last dunk in a basketball game that's already over, or the final song at a wedding just before everyone goes home. In a wonderful video from the channel The Art Assignment, the creator Sarah Urist Green says in regards to masterpieces, we're talking about what we want the future to know about the present. And I think that's exactly it. That's the key. When you call something a masterpiece, it's almost like you're saying, this is how I want to remember it. This deserves to be remembered. This idea is what convinced me that I needed not one list, but two. I know I promised I'd give you a list of 7 games, and don't worry, I still will.
You've given us 2 lists of 7 games.
And this may come as a shock to you, I actually haven't played every single video game ever made. Because of this fact, I wanted to make one list of the games that I feel, based on both my research and my initial criteria, are as close to objective as I can get. These are the 7 games that I think are the most important for the history of the medium, the 7 true masterpieces. Yet I also wanted to make my own personal list. A list of games that I thought deserved that exclamation point, that defining label, games I thought deserved to be remembered. I'll throw this second list on screen at the end and make a full video about it on Patreon. With that in mind, let's finally take a look at the 7 true masterpieces. List 1, in chronological order, is as follows. Tetris. As previously stated, it's about as close to a pure masterpiece as you can get, so I'm pretty confident placing it here. Super Mario Bros. Again, same reasons as before, I won't spend too much time on it. Third will be Doom 1993. Not only is it one of
Ooh, I haven't played any of the Doom games, but that's an old shooter game where you just get to like shoot monsters, kind of. That is pretty That's pretty huge.
The first 3D games ever made, but it also revolutionized FPSs and shooters in general, a genre that would go on to become one of the most popular and arguably most profitable on the planet. Although that profit thing does depend on mostly semantic factors that I don't think you want to hear about. Our fourth game is going to be Pokemon Red and Blue. The impact these games had on the industry, and more importantly, outside of it, is simply too great for me to place anything else in this spot. Number 5 is Ocarina of Time. It was both the pioneer of 3D cameras and action games with the Z-targeting system, a system that's still used in most third-person 3D action games today, and the blueprint for decades of future third-person 3D action games. Games from Okami to Dark Souls to even Elden Ring were all either directly or indirectly inspired by Ocarina of Time. At number 6, I place the aforementioned World of Warcraft for being the game that brought MMOs into the mainstream. A lot of the biggest
Dude, World of Warcraft? When did that even come out? When did the original World of Warcraft come out? Like, way too fucking long ago.
Games on the planet today are MMOs. Think things like Final Fantasy XIV or Elder Scrolls Online. On top of this, its cultural impact is up there with things like Pokemon and our final entry, number 7, the last masterpiece, Minecraft. The highest selling video game of all time. A game that, much like Pokemon Red and Blue and World of Warcraft before it, dramatically impacted the world outside of the game, and a game that's seen continued dominance for over a decade now, with no signs of slowing down anytime soon. And that's as close as I can get to.
What do you think about the list? I think there's some games on there that I haven't played, but I think it looks pretty good. I don't know what else I would add to it. Because those are like the games like started everything. That started everything, or just like are still unique to this day. I think those are good. I mean, like on my bias stuff, I just like would like, of course, I'd put like Elden Ring on there because I've played that a lot and it's one of my favorite games. But in terms of trying to be objective, I like that.
To an objective list of 7. It's not perfect, and even I have some problems with it. Among other things, I feel it prioritizes influence a bit too much, leading to a total lack of more modern games like Elden Ring or most of the best indies that simply haven't had enough time to generate the kind of legacy or influence that older games like Doom or Ocarina of Time have. That said, if the aliens show—
Wait, did he say indie game and put Elden Ring on there? My guy, as much as I love Elden Ring, this is not an indie game. Silksong, Terraria, and what's that game? Cross something cross? I don't really know what that is. But Elden Ring is not an indie game.
See your influence that older games like Doom or Ocarina of Time.
Also, I wouldn't be mad if he also put like the original Hollow Knight instead of Silksong. I liked Silksong better, but the original Hollow Knight was what started it.
Have. That said, if the aliens showed up tomorrow and asked for a list, this is the one I'm giving them. So with that impossible task finally completed, and with everything we've gone over in mind,
CrossFit, I think, is one of the free-to-own PS Plus games right now. Nice. Yeah, no, I never
allow me
really
to
heard of
ask
it.
you one final question. A true masterpiece is a game that you believe deserves to be remembered. So if someone told you they believed a game was a true masterpiece, then regardless of the game's quality, its impact, its legacy, and any other metrics you could use to define it, would they be wrong?
Outer Wilds. I've been wanting to play Outer Wilds as well. I've never played it, never seen gameplay of it, because I've been waiting for the day where I'll play it for the first time blindly.
To do so, and if
GTA 5 not being here is crazy. I don't know. I feel like GTA 4, like GTA like San Andreas or something, would be like more revolutional first. I don't know anything about GTA 1, 2, 3, but I think the first GTAs would have been even more like objectively like revolutionary.
not, what games do you believe deserve to be remembered? Thank you so much for watching to the end. I feel like I said this.
Okay, and he has his masterpieces. Final Fantasy VII, which I haven't played, but I'm not mad about it. Smash Bros. Melee. Ooh, Smash Bros. Melee. Melee probably had the biggest competitive scenes of like all Smash Bros. Games now. And that was before Nintendo decided to just like basically try to nuke all the fucking tournaments because Nintendo decided, hey, we actually don't fuck with the Smash Bros. Community and we're just gonna like not try to fund any of their tournaments. And then Zelda Wind Waker. That's the one with Toon Link, isn't it? Oh, I haven't played it. Pokemon Diamond, Monster Hunter 4, Xenoblade X, and Shovel Knight. There's a lot of those games I haven't played, actually.
Last time too, but this video was an absolute nightmare to make. But if you want to see more of them, why not hit that subscribe button? YouTube is probably getting rid of it soon, so you might as well press it for old time's sake, right? And if you really want to support me even further, you can do so.
Well, that was a good ass video. I will give it a like. I'm also gonna subscribe to him because if he keeps posting stuff like that, I'll be very down to watch some more. You can kind of see what I usually watch just by looking at the right side. That's about what I usually watch. Yeah, sounds right. Link it. Yeah, I got you. Here's a link to it. I don't think. I mean, the link is definitely good, but like, I don't think there's that many people on there enough for it to really do much. But yeah, the only 7 masterpieces ever made by M.H. Swoosser. I don't know. I probably butchered the shit out of that. Very good video.